Donald Trump was calling in to Fox and Friends yesterday to go over what the situation was
this morning.
this morning rather, about his meeting with Zelensky and European leaders yesterday. What has come out of it was Trump is all over the place in terms of Ukraine. He presumably gave some assurances to Zelensky that the U.S. would continue to help Ukraine. I think the Europeans are probably going back to Europe and saying, we've got to make sure that we're able to help Ukraine because this guy's a lunatic. And Trump also came out of there saying, like, I think I've set up a direct talk between Putin and Zelensky. And it took almost like 12 hours for that to fall apart.
I mean, he was momentarily charmed by Putin saying that they should ban mail-in voting or something like that. Harris said that in their debate, that he's really susceptible to flattery in ways that are harmful for the public, and that's honestly a really true statement.
There's a hot mic where Trump is on the hot mic and says, I think he's going to give me a deal. Can you believe that? And the answer is no. I don't believe it, and I totally believe that you believe that. Here is Trump with Fox and Friends.
President Putin said, no NATO. And you said, you know what, we're just going to take that off the table. But you did get President Putin to agree to NATO-like protections. So tell us about that.
Pause it for one second. Trump at one point said that maybe we'd have to put troops on the ground. Now, I don't think that he's sincere about that. I think you say that even though that everybody knows that you're not going to do that, that the American public would not stand for U.S. troops on the ground. But why do you take the NATO membership off the table? Just as a negotiation thing. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Well, you would do that if you're not really negotiating on Ukraine's behalf, because I don't think that it's likely that Ukraine's going to be able to join NATO. I think that's a red line for Russia in these talks. But you wouldn't say that publicly if you were on the side of Ukraine, which he's not. But he's not, though.
You wouldn't say it to Putin. You'd say, look, it's something we could negotiate away. He's pre-negotiating against himself.
The art of the deal.
Oh.
That was ghostwritten.
Hell.
Well, the war really started over NATO and Crimea. And they wanted Crimea back. That was given, not a shot fired by President Obama in perhaps the worst real estate deal I've ever seen. There's been a couple of them. I would say the Gaza Strip was a pretty bad one, too. Given by Israel so they'd have peace. So
pause it for a second. Wait a second. Not the point of this clip, but Gaza wasn't given by Israel. Palestinians were living there, and other Palestinians who had their land taken from them by Israel were essentially put into what amounts to, I don't know, the Warsaw Ghetto.
An open-air prison is what it's been described, but I would say it's a concentration camp because no one's done anything wrong. They're refugees.
It was basically a ghetto. And it wasn't like no Palestinians were living there and we just decided to put all the Palestinians here. This was where we have decided to exile them to.
Also, it is a pretty bad deal that Obama got, the bad real estate deal where the Russians took Crimea and then he chose not to respond militarily, which I think was probably the right thing at the time. But what was
Trump saying we should have went to war with Russia?
Right. I mean, but who the deal? There was no deal ever. This was Russia invading and annexing a part of Ukraine.
He thinks it's a negotiation that happened.
But yeah,
conquest.
I got a briefing book, but there was no pictures. Go ahead.
They gave away a big percentage of their oceanfront property in order to have peace. How did that work out? Not so good. And Crimea is the apple of Ukraine. I mean, it's so beautiful. And Obama gave it away. Nobody ever mentions that. If I ever did that, the fake news would be, they would be writing about me day and night for years. He gave it away. He demanded that they let it go, and Russia came in and took it, just took it like from a candy from a baby. And it was really Obama's, not really, I mean, that was pure and simple, Obama's fault. What a terrible thing he did to that country. And so they lost their heart. They lost the heart and soul of the Ukraine 14 years ago, whatever it might be. And it was so unnecessary to do that. And that's when it really began, when Obama gave it away. And then...
I'm trying to keep track here because...
So
the isolationists are basically, I thought, leading up to the election, obsessed with the idea that we should basically cut off all arms to Ukraine and that we shouldn't have any involvement. But which is functionally kind of what Obama did in 2014 with the Crimea thing, where he didn't flood Ukraine with weaponry and say we're going to basically defend this in the way that I mean, the invasion obviously under Biden was more severe, but this is basically what Trump's stated policy was, what Obama did with Crimea, like restricting U.S. involvement.
I really don't want to talk about what's going on now, so let's talk about Obama.
I mean, they just had the same policy, which is not to help Ukraine retake Crimea and start war, but, give them weapons, although Trump made it conditional on them helping them go after Hunter Biden.
I am really trying, is this number, I am really trying to not address what's actually going on.
Right.
So first, let me talk about Obama, and then let me talk about this.
Is he confusing Crimea? That was the end of the clip, I think. Is
No,
he confusing?
this is another clip.
But is he
Same
confusing
interview.
Crimea with the Donbass? Because Crimea, there's no negotiation in which it seems like Ukraine is going to get Crimea back.
He's preparing to give up the Donbass and other regions and keeping Obama.
But it was Obama's fault.
Obama started giving up property, so I just have to keep doing it.
I don't want to talk about anything that's going on now. This is what I want to talk about.
Hey, there's a guy named Sean Hannity. He might take a very lovely young lady that he knows very, very well to dinner in Washington, and they don't have to. And she's sitting right next to you, by the way.
That's right.
But
Mr. President,
I don't want to get him in trouble, so I better explain exactly. We don't want any secrets here. But
That's exactly
he's
right.
got. That's the greatest relationship. I hope I'm not breaking any news. This could be the biggest. Hey, this could be the most important thing I said. But let me tell you, those are two great, Ainsley and Sean, great people. And when they go out to dinner, I don't want to see them get mugged. Now they can go out, they can hold hands, they can walk down the street. They're both superstars. I want to know who makes more money, because she's got to be making a lot.
Mr. President, we're so happy for them. But on a serious note, Mr. President, when you have those world leaders, because this is the topic of conversation for the whole world, when you had them sitting in front of you, did they...
Hey, do you want to talk about Obama more, or?
So how's your romantic then?
First of all, the secret that it's been reported like a year ago.
That Sean Hannity and Ainsley are hard.
Yeah,
together.
that he left his wife for her. I mean, they were obviously having an affair.
Still on my mind, though.
As Charlie Kirk said, there's a lot of things you could call him, but you can't call him feminine.
I mean, this is Trump.
Gossiping about couples.
He's such a gossip. He could have been a Wendy Williams, but he really missed his calling because he ended up being a fascist. He had all those old tweets, remember, about the Robert Pattinson, Kristen Stewart cheating scandal? Robert Pattinson should not take back Kristen Stewart. She cheated on him like a dog and will do it again. Just watch. He can do so much better. Robert Pattinson is putting on such a good face for the release of Twilight. He took my advice on Kristen Stewart, I hope. He just wants to be a relationship radio host.
So nice. They're so hot together.
Superstars.
They're both stars. They're both stars.
Could walk down the street and maybe have a little smooch.
Do you think that he would talk about Hannity? If Hannity was sitting there and there was two other guys, he would be like, and there's also going to be some good-looking guy right there who's going to be able to take his lady out. And I did it's just it's so
astute point, Sam. You get a feminism point on my little tally that I've been keeping here.
Here's the first one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Here's my favorite tweets from Trump when he talks about Russell Brand and Katy Perry. That's another That was another relationship he was big on.
Invested in?
I like Russell Brand, but Katy Perry made a big mistake when she married him. Let's see if I'm right. I hope not. Katy Perry must have been drunk when she married Russell Brand at Rusty Rockets.
He tagged him?
But he did send me a really nice letter of apology. Should have been foreboding. Katie, what the hell were you thinking when you married loser Russell Brand? There's a guy who has got nothing going on, a waste. I watch Russell Brand. I think his mind is fried. He looks really bad. Russell is a joke, a dummy who is lost.
Girl, what are you doing?
There's those old clips where he was going on, I forget these talk shows, they give dating advice, and this one woman's like, I've been with this guy for 10 years and he hasn't proposed. He's like, you deserve so much better, sweetie. You've got to dump it. There is some, like, in a parallel universe, like a version of Trump who isn't so evil, who's doing that with his life.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.